Hey, what's up, guys? So, it's kind of a rare event today, but I love it when this happens. When I play a game for the morning video that I know usually gets slightly lower viewership, and some event happens that really makes me kind of scratch my head and say, why is this going on? And then I come up right away with a good topic for the next video. So, that's exactly what's happened today. If you didn't watch this morning's game, you didn't really miss much. Let's see, we'll do this one here. I'm going to need to stick my camera in here, so it's going to just take us a second here to do that, because for whatever reason my setup likes to forget my camera. Here I am, and we'll take away a little bit of the extra. I don't know if you really want to see my ceiling or not. Let's see here. There we go, and we'll just make this a little bit big, something like that. There we have it. So in this morning's game, as you can see here, the Giants won 10-1. If you didn't watch it, you didn't miss much. But there was an interesting thing that happened near the end of the game. So there were two intentional walks, two times that the Reds intentionally walked Giants players. The second one was the interesting one. This was in the bottom of the eighth inning when there was a runner on third. I'm sorry, what did Gordon do here? He scored the runner. There was a runner on second base. First base was open with 2 outs. It was 10-0 New York. Bobby Thompson came up and they walked him intentionally. And I thought, that's a little bit weird. Why would you walk someone intentionally with a 10-1, or when you're down by 10 runs, right? Does that really make sense? So we'll go ahead. We'll exit out of this. This is the beauty of this, right? Diamond Mine Baseball and all this stuff. But what we're going to do next is we're going to go take a look and see if we can figure out exactly what's happening. And of course, this thing, when I do this, it's not going to let me open this up the way that I would like to. Here we go. So we have figured out a way there to kind of fake out VirtualBox. I need to stop using VirtualBox. That's one of the longer-term goals that I have. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at StatHead, and we're going to take a look and see what we can figure out. I believe I went into the a trial period of StatHead again or something like that. I don't know, right? I feel like it's one of these services where you can almost always have trials. Anyway, this lets me look quickly at all of the intentional walks in 1949 for which there is retro-sheet data. Now, it doesn't have full retro-sheet data. 3.6% of all players from 1914 1972 are missing, and 1949 is going to be viewed as incomplete. So this isn't going to be everything that we know about intentional walks in 1949. But having said that, we do know quite a bit, right? So, I mean, the guys at RetroSheet do a very, very good job. What we're interested in here, though, is what the score is. How many times were there intentional walks in which the team that was pitching was losing by a lot of runs, right? So I think that I clicked on the right thing. We're going to find out here really quickly, right? So this was... This doesn't look right at all because these are all tied. Interesting. Let's see what we can find here. Well, it's not going to let me know much about that. That's a little bit strange. All right, so now you can see the reason why I don't like to actually subscribe to StatHead. Let's see if we can check out what the score is from the perspective of the batting team. Yes, that is what we want. So what we're looking for is anything that is similar to what we just saw. As you can see, the vast majority of these games are close, like really, really close games, because you're usually not going to intentionally walk a guy when the score is not so close. But look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different games in which there was a 7-run deficit in favor of the team batting, and yet the batter was still intentionally walked. In fact, the one that strikes me as most interesting is probably this first one. Although all of these with the 8-run deficit, all 4 of them are pretty interesting. But this was on May 4th, 1949, where Buddy Kerr was walked facing Kirby Higbee, with the score was 9-1 at that time. So let's see if we can find that event and sort of figure out what was going on. It's here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So Higbee giving up a walk. There was a pass ball that allowed Gordon to go to second. Johnny Mize popped out. And then Bobby Thompson came up and singled, scoring a run, then stole second. What is Bobby Thompson doing stealing second with a 9-1 lead, right? I mean, normally you'd think that you would want to have some respect for your opponent. That doesn't show it. Willard Marshall walked anyway, so it didn't really matter. then Walker Cooper hit into ground out to short, and so both runners moved up. Up came Buddy Kerr, and they walked Buddy Kerr, which makes little sense to me. The only thing that can really explain this is that the pitcher was up next, Larry Jansen. But the thing is that pitching to the shortstop, who was Kerr, is the same thing as pitching to the pitcher, right? I mean, like, why are you showing so much respect for Buddy Kerr when you're down by 8 runs? Jansen hits a single and then scores 2, and then you're down by 10. So that didn't work, right? And, Higbee's still in this ballgame. How long did Higbee pitch? He wasn't the starting pitcher, right? No, he wasn't. He was the reliever. He stayed in for 2 innings and gave up 3 runs on 3 hits was all. So not doing a very good job of keeping them off the bases. And so there you go. There's an example of that. In fact, we'll look at probably the other 3 examples as well here. Basically what this means, though, is, of course, that the computer manager is not doing something completely ridiculous, although I will note that the pitcher was not up next. So for this one, the Browns at the Tigers is Johnny Lipon, who was intentionally walked of the Tigers. And let's see if we can figure out what inning. This is in the bottom of the 6th inning. This one's not going to be as easy to find. And let's see here, bottom of the 6th. Yeah, so Wirt single, there was a fly to right, and they pop up to second. 2 men were out. Groth hit a base hit. And so there was runners on first and second, and Lipon was walked to get to Ted Gray. Ted Gray is the pitcher for the Tigers. So that makes sense, right? Here we go with the Indians at Boston on June 14th. And you had Jim Hegan, who was walked intentionally in the top of the 2nd. So Cleveland totally came out bursting in this one. Got to the top of the 2nd inning, and, I mean, what happened here? So you had runner on at first after a single, and then 2 straight walks. The bases were jammed. I mean, Tex Hewson had just come into the game in the middle of the 1st inning. Joe Dobson didn't even get through a full inning. There was a pop-up by Joe Gordon, sacrifice fly by Lou Boudreau, and that scored 1, and then a double by Bob Kennedy, so there were runners on 2nd and 3rd. And Jim Hegan, the catcher, was up and was intentionally walked because Bob Feller was coming up next. And what did Bob Feller do? He got a base hit and drove in the 9th run of the game. The Indians ended up winning this one 10-5, so Boston was able to come back. But again, it was walked. You were walking the guy intentionally to get to the pitcher. Once again, and we've seen this a couple times in a row, right? Once again, you get punished for doing so. It was not a great managerial decision by any stretch of the imagination, at least when you're looking at it like this. And then September 29th, second game of a doubleheader. This is the Dodgers at Boston with Gil Hodges up there. He's walked intentionally. And I'll tell you, this game was a key game for the Dodgers to win, which is probably why they were up 8-0 in the top of the 4th. Yeah, they were up 8-0 after 2 innings. This is one of those where they probably were very happy that the game was counted as a complete game, though they only played through 5 innings, second game of the doubleheader. I wonder why that was called, actually. It might be, it was raining. That's the reason why. We'll take a look at that. That one actually might be an interesting one to do a little bit more in-depth look at. It's the top of the 4th, right, where we saw this. So, yeah, there was a walk to Snyder. Robinson forced him at second, and then Hermansky grounded out. Robinson went to second, and then they walked Hodges to get to Carl Furillo. So it is possible that you could walk Hodges, you could walk somebody to get to a guy who maybe wasn't the pitcher. Though I would say it's pretty rare in that case. And again, 8-0, you're down 8-0, and you're walking the guy. That's a little bit odd. We're going to go take a look at this one. So this would be, September 30th. We'll look at that Brooklyn Daily Eagle. Just because it's Brooklyn, and we want to see exactly what happened. It's not every day that we get the chance to do this. So here we go into 1949, September 30th, and we'll just take a little look at the main edition. That's what we care about. And just as I thought, fine job, lads. Now the fills. Yeah, so there's a little bit on the first page about this, though not so much. There was an article that extended to there, and that's about it. What I'm looking for, though, is the actual sports page to see if we can get sort of an idea of what people were thinking at the time. Yeah, all is well with the world. Dodgers back on top of the National League. They swept the Braves. 8-0, halted by rain and darkness after 5 innings. Interesting that it was also halted by darkness because I'm pretty sure that Braves Field had lights at that time. If I'm wrong, let me know. I might be wrong. But yeah, that was definitely a key game. Here we go. It was as dark as a coal pocket when the teams came back in the field for the second game. Brooklyn jumped out into an even earlier 5-run lead, fixing Sane in the first inning and adding 3 more off Bob Ho in the second. The drizzle threatened to turn into a downpour any minute and wash the victory away. Under instructions from their manager, however, the sportsman like Brooks kept on running and hitting. There's not much sportsman about that. You want to make it a complete game so you don't have to replay it again, and because that gives you a half-game lead over St. Louis. The Braves' dilatory tactics didn't influence them in the slightest. So that's about all that there is to say about that. The burlesque is back at Braves Field, and so on and so forth. Yeah, the Braves didn't even come close to winning either game from the Dodgers yesterday, but they did some of the greatest stalling ever seen on the ball field. You see this every time you have one of these situations, especially in a pennant race when a team is totally beat. I mean, the Braves are way out of it by this point. Where are they here? They're down in fourth place, 23 games out. They can't come back, right? But they're going to try to do what they can to delay things. So it degenerated into burlesque in the fifth inning of the nightcap. They used all their tricks to delay their last turn at bat before the legal 5 innings, hoping the drizzle would turn into a downpour or would grow too dark to continue. Now, again, I'm not sure why the lights were not going on. There might have been some reason for that, or there may not have been lights at Braves Field, though I'm pretty sure that there were at this time. If you know more about this, let me know. I think that there may have been rules at the time regarding the starting time of games and whether lights could be turned on. I just realized that the final score in the first game is listed as 9-9. That can't be correct, especially since the Braves only had 2 runs. Whatever. First, Marv Rickard, out in the left field in the Brooklyn half of the round, had to return to the Boston bench on some mythical errand. Then Connie Ryan, when play was started, took a relay on a double play ball and kept on running after he had passed the bag, staging an impromptu juggling act that caught the fancy of the crowd. Tommy Holmes was the first batter up for the Braves once the Dodgers had been retired. While awaiting his turn, Ryan suddenly came up the dugout steps wearing a raincoat. Umpire George Barr immediately stopped the comedian and put him out of the game. Some unknown Brave started a fire at the corner of the bench and kept tossing fresh fuel on the flames. Barr ignored this disturber. Wow. Manager Bert Shodden was a sportsman about the whole thing. He could have instructed his own players behind their 8-run lead to hurry the game along by getting caught off base, which is what it said over here, striking at the first pitch or loafing down at first. I told my men before the second game started that I wanted them to keep their noses clean, said the honest old sourdough. Don't try to get it over quick. Barr came out over to our bench on the field. Mr. Shodden, he said, I know you're not the type of man to do anything to mar your victory. Interesting stuff. I know this video is a little bit long, but we're going to do one more here because I really am curious to know. I have a feeling that the Boston Globe probably wasn't paying that much attention to the Braves, but you never know. You never know what might have happened, and I'm just very, very curious to see if the story is a little bit different. Rain could earn assist on pennant, yeah, because anyway, we'll look at that later when we need to. Let's see what we can find here. This, by the way, is the reason why it always takes me so long to get anything written or to get anything filmed for this project, because as soon as you come up with something interesting, you're like, oh, I wonder what this other paper says too. I want to know more. It's one of the curses of prosperity and the curses of the age that we live in. You get pretty good, though, at flipping through these papers and finding what it is that you're looking for. Here we go. Dodgers beat Braves twice, take lead as Cardinals lose. And let's see. I'm just looking really quick to see if there's any mention of this. Absolutely. It doesn't look like there was much of a story about exactly what may have happened. Hey, no, here we go. There was a little bit here, not so much from the first game. 5,548 people there, weather-defying spectators. The second game was played in constant rain, and the last 3 innings were completed in actual darkness, so much that Connie Ryan of the Tribe was evicted from the premises when he came to the on-deck circle, attired in a raincoat in the tribal half of the 5th inning. The Tribe, of course, being the Boston Braves. The episode drew an uproar from the stands, but certainly was not funny to umpire-in-chief George Barr, who whirled around and banished the Tribal second sacker with a grand flourish of his arm. Ryan remained fixed, arguing back and drawing the raincoat about his person and shivering perceptibly. The pantomime certainly exhibited the Braves' feelings of the utter folly of continuing play under such conditions, pennant or no pennant for the visitors. In fairness to Barr, who would see no one at the end of the game, saying, "Get your news from Mr. Frick," it must be admitted that once he hit the 4th inning, it was a certainty that he should try and complete the contest. Contending teams should benefit as far as possible in the manner of fair play. The one danger Barr risked in continuing, the game was officially called at 5:06 p.m. at the close of the Tribal 5th, was serious injury to the players involved. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Looking through this quickly, there's no other information about that, so nothing about the fire being started on the bench, which sounded really, really funny to me. Anyway, though, there you go. That's a little bit of a journey into what awaits us in 1949. But just so you know, I mean, it's not necessarily awful for the Diamond Mine computer manager to decide to walk to get to the next batter down 10-0. I mean, if this happened down 8-0 to get to a guy who wasn't the pitcher, it certainly can happen down 10-0. I would argue that in the Braves' case, they probably had an incentive to try to walk the guy to have the game not be an official ball game, but I mean, even then, I don't know how much actual incentive they had, and you're down 8-0. I mean, you don't want to end up with a fine from the league office and people thinking that you're playing crooked or whatever. Anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something. I learn a lot of things every time we do one of these. So there you have it. I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye.